Yes, Shalom, Habarim, Rosh Teferet, Shalom. And greetings and welcome, guests, friends, visitors. Welcome to this presentation about the ultimate and most prosperous way to live, permanently winning. And it's based on having knowledge and true, legitimate, divine wisdom and understanding and insight into how life and the universe works. And it happens to work according to a completely systematic manner and mode and method. And I say this because the potential, even the divine providence from the beginning of beginnings, right? For all of life to be very good, and even every human life to be very good. It's already there. So actually what's happening is that there's a potential there for every human being to actually live a very good life. And it's simply by being somewhat prudent and wise and practicing self-mastery and the skill of self-mastery basically is to accurately monitor and understand the life cycles that you're in and to live in harmony with them as much as possible, leading to an ongoing, very good state of existence and benefit and, health and wealth and riches being maintained in a very good way and steadily increasing. Okay. That having been said, what I went to make this vlog about was that there is, so the fact that life is cyclical and there's cycles of life, okay? There are daily periods of the cycles of life, 3 hours, 25 minutes in length. There are short lunar units, 3 hours in length. There are long lunar units, 3.5 days in length. There's an annual life cycle period, 52 days in length. There's a simple overall period of human life, it's 7 years in length. And there's a simple overall period of human life, completely from 0 to 144 years. So all the time, right, we know exactly wherefore it is the time and what this time right now is the best for. And the key is to comprehend and to actually see that what's going on is that all the time, divine providence is giving. It's giving. There's always divine providence. Like, this also translates into that whatever the life situation may be, right? There is always the ability to receive divine wisdom or a genius thought with good guidance and some really good inspiration that allows you to then simply adjust the way that you live a tiny bit, leading to a very massive improvement. This is divine inspiration or a cosmic impulse or perfect guidance from the Creator, okay? This happens in specific and certain times in our lives. It actually happens during the 5th annual life cycle period a lot, and in the C periods of the daily periods of the cycles of life. Also, the magnitude of any either negative, neutral, or positive quality of anything that goes on in life is also governed by the lunar units and a combination between the short lunar unit and the long lunar unit. So the combination of the 3-hour short lunar unit and whether that's negative, neutral, or positive, and the 3.5 day long lunar unit and whether that is negative or positive. So it's as if with wisdom, we can actually look at our life right now and the universe and the world around us and actually have real, accurate insight and in a very clear and totalistic overview of why everything is how it is right now, and that based on true science and life science and logic, and by actually being able to comprehend why everything is how it even is right now to a very high degree, we gain a situational overview, shall we say, and then with that understanding, we have the great ability to also prosperously accomplish legitimate objectives in life. So it's like knowing how this clock works, or like knowing how the machine works and being able to utilize it now to produce certain things. And self-mastery, the ability to determine your life and your destiny, is a very important thing that all human beings should, and some already practice, and that everyone should learn and practice and benefit from, because the quality of your life is based on almost like the level of either most usually randomly or knowingly and clearly, magically, and seeing like a magi amount of wisdom that you practically apply. Now, as I said earlier, the potential for all of life to be perfect is already been provided. Now, the key here is that we could look at life, and every one of you can look at your life as, like if this was a circuit board from a computer or a grid, there's a pattern that you were set on that is perfect. And if you move along this pattern generally within certain boundaries, right, it's easier than it may seem as I explain this. If you move along this pattern, generally speaking, what happens is that generally everything that happens is good, and it gets better and better. So this is because there's automatically, divinely pre-provided and programmed providence that has been invested into creation. Like in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he also geometrized, and he gave this creation the potential to basically expand and to keep on going in a very, very good way. And the most relevant part of this is our life, the life of a human being, anyone. The potential has been given for your life to be very good. All you must, in fact, sort of practice is a little bit of legitimate living and the application, right? The practical application of wisdom, and pay a little bit of attention to the important things such as God's law, right? Right? Study and examine everything and choose and follow that what is good. And practice practically applying wisdom. And go and basically scientifically safely experiment in the field of life, in the world, and the universe, and not of it, with wisdom, and see how. And now another thing, as you go through life and you safely, wisely experiment with wisdom, you have to also evaluate the, evaluate the scientific experiments results. Now this is like through experience, through real life experience, where we've gone on some adventures, we've set some objectives, and we've accomplished certain things. And when we really stop and look and go, okay, look, here's what I set out to accomplish. I put all the best and the wisest effort into this. And now what has happened, right? And now what has happened is this. Okay. Now, at first, look, I'm talking about mastering it, accomplishing your goals and objectives that are legit. and fine-tuning the process to guarantee your prosperity, right? When you stop and look at what happened, you realize, hold on, this is actually very good. It's different from what I had in mind immediately, yet it's actually very good. Even the view here today is so magnificent. The best one I've seen in a long time. Okay, so now you go and you stop and you look at, okay, so here's what's actually happening now. Do you see that, like when you look at how things are compared to how you intended to make them be, even using wisdom, if you see neutrally and intelligently, you'll see that actually things are very good. Things are actually great. Because there's a higher divine guidance at work in our lives. This thing is like the overall super high universal order or the cosmic order or divine programming that is guiding everything. To see this, you really have to go and sort of neutralize, pause, zoom out, and look at it from a distance from time to time. Because it's very easy to get sort of into like a tunnel vision view of life when you're always in the same place, the same sort of scenario, environment. You have to sort of free up and look above and beyond sometimes. And then you start to see things from a higher perspective, okay? And you start to see, okay, this is a little bit different. It's actually different than what I had set out to accomplish today. Yet I know exactly why what happened today happened the way it did. And I know how things are working, and I know how things are going, and how they work, and how they will work. And I can accomplish my goals in the near future, in due season, right? So you've got this thing where whatever it may be, everyone, wow, whatever it may be, everyone. Huh, what a saying, huh? The thing is that as we go here, first of all, with wisdom, we can actually clearly see and comprehend and understand why and how everything works and is how it even is right now. That's all based on knowledge of the cycles of life, particularly, specifically, the life cycles that we are in right now. Because they actually facilitate even how we feel, think, like the physical and the metaphysical state and everything. There's a universal order that is always operating. And it's operating according to this eternal, divine, perfect programming, okay? And you're going with that, okay? That's living in harmony with the cycles of life to the best of your ability, to the best of my ability, with the maximum amount of wisdom that I can actually, hold, retain, and actually work with right now. And there is an additional support available, and that's the immediate divine guidance, inspiration, providence, and the genius cosmic impulses or thoughts that are of a very high quality that stem from the mind of God within. Okay? Now, these happen to arrive in our mind at certain times. Certain times specifically, my friends. And it's important to pay attention to this because just computing something. Because, look, with anything and everything, no matter what it is, if you're able to be intelligently receptive to the divine cosmic impulse or the thoughts that are of a very high quality and wisdom and everything like that, it's like genius divine inspiration and guidance that come from the mind of God within and one with us, or like what could be called a cosmic impulse or a divine inspiration, right? A flash of genius thought that's then wisely evaluated and analyzed before being put into action, as with all things and ideas, right? What happens is you're basically permanently, perfectly guided in life. Because, like, think about this. I could explain a situation to you right now, dear viewers, and you would think, whoa. Like, while I stand here right now and I vlog out here in the countryside, there's literally bills up to $3,000 and plus. And I'm still computing, how am I going to pay these bills? How am I going to make it work safely? And then I zoom out further and I realize, wait, what life cycles am I in? Oh, it's a good time for this and this and that. Really? So that will support my accomplishment of this and this and that, right? So like, you got to be circumspect holistically. Like, you got to be circumspect, because then you see the big picture and you really see how everything really is. And the more you see this, the better it is, because the clearer vision you have, the clearer situational overview you have, the better the decisions you are making are, and it leads to the best possible things happening. This is a process, and this is something that obviously, as I'm describing it, it's, it takes its time, and it will all happen at the right time, as it always does. Yet, look, there's an important point in that we absolutely have got to be able to be intelligently receptive to real, authentic, divine guidance and like input and communication, so that when we've calculated it out, right, as far as we can, and I have done this many times where I've gone and, hey, I have calculated it out. I've seen what's happening. I've looked at, okay, how can I improve this? How can I make this work, right? I got to keep my house. I got to keep this. I got to keep the cash. I got to keep the health and the wealth increasingly maximized and so on. How do you do this? How am I going to do this? Whoa. Well, you calculate it out as far as you can, and then you take a deep breath, relax, you wait, and there's a time of the day, and this time of the day is, it's right now on a Thursday evening in a C period of the daily periods of the cycles of life. Time for the realization of great arithmetical truths. Okay, so you're basically being prudent in the field of life. And by being prudent, okay, you're being the most prosperous, the safest, the strongest, the healthiest, and the wealthiest permanently. Because it's as if this was a chess game, you have the master strategy and you were permanently applying the master strategy and mathematical combination in this game, so that you're winning. And you're safe all the way. This is possible. It takes self-management to the point where one can also even, and perhaps I could practice this more often, is really stop and rest and just cease and desist. And then be patient and await divine communication, instruction, and guidance. And this happens automatically when we've been working on something for so long, to the best of our ability, right? I've done this. I'm at that point these days where I've done everything I can to make it all as good as possible, right? Now what has to happen is you have to stop, zoom out, and await, and intelligently listen for, and then receive, retain, evaluate, and apply divine guidance. We're talking about the moment when you could be laying in bed. You could also be out somewhere like now, or laying in bed, and all of a sudden you have this thought and you realize something, and it goes click. And it's like, the idea is go here, go that way, and this is how to move forward. Okay, really? And then you evaluate that and you realize, wait a minute, it's actually true. That is something that is perpetuous in the life cycles that I'm in right now, and even the ones that are coming up. That is good guidance. And so you keep... So look, what I'm saying is, in self-mastery, the most important skill to determine your life and your destiny in a good way, for sure, absolute safety, security, and prosperity guaranteed by that. It's true. I do it. It works. It always has. Thank God Almighty, right? You have to be able to also be like intelligently receptive to divine guidance. Because you see, like I said, you calculate it out to the best of your ability, you work on it, and if it still has to work better, hold on a second. We've got divine help and guidance that's on the way, and it will work. So what will happen is, after you've calculated it out, whatever decision, whatever plan of action, whatever, how to move forward, right? What'll happen is you'll come to a point where you've done the best you can. Hey, I have taken all the wisdom I've got, and I've taken it and I've written it out, I've mapped it out, I've mapped the life cycles out, I have an overview of them, right? I'm looking, I see what cosmic resources are available, right? I know what divine resources are available now. I'm seeking to allocate the divine providence the right way to accomplish my objectives, to pay my bills, to keep my house, to keep my insurance, to stay safe, free, happy, legit, and blessed, and live a happy, legit, high life forever, right? I think that's what all of us are striving for, and it's attainable. You just have to be able to also receive. Yeah, we have to be like ready to receive the divine additional aid and guidance. And that comes. It does. There have been times when there have been things that went on where there are dates that have been set. You have a contract, there's an end. You try to extend it. Okay, now what? How do you keep it? How do you keep this? How do you keep your home? How do you keep safe? How do you stay healthy, right? Wealthy? How do you keep this up? Well, first of all, the Creator is going to keep it up. He's going to instruct you and show you how to go. It's true, it really is. And then the Creator is going to communicate to you. Now, these communications, there'll be thoughts. There'll be thoughts that will be brilliant, where you realize, wow, that's true. Okay, thank you for showing me that. Now I can adjust my, way of living and operating, and I can go this way, and this way is perfect. It all works out, right? This is really true. It's really important. I got to emphasize this. Take this to heart. When you've done everything you can, right? I mean, I've been there, and I'm there now. Hold on a second. There is still a good, and there will still be, and there still is a very good way that is coming for everything to sort of get put in its place. You'll see. It's happened many times where we've had to really figure it out, right? And we've figured it out as far as we could, and then divine guidance also came in and showed us the exact perfect sort of pattern to move on forward. How to do it. How to fix this. How to bridge this gap. How to build over the top of that. How to win. How to gain. How to, accomplish this. How to pay the bills. How to keep a house. How to keep living happily, healthily, and wealthily forever. And so